So obviously here on the channel, we talk a lot about Modern Warfare and its characters and games and maybe spin-offs and different ideas. Now, one idea that's been in my head personally after making our video on the original Simon Ghost Riley and his origin story and really his complete story has been the possibility of a game based on that story from the comic books created by Dark Horse. Now, recently I got two comments. One from Just Pictures, who says, not sure if you've ever done this or thought about, but what if they made a Ghost origin game? How do you think it would play out? I think it would play out pretty damn cool. And I think him suggesting that is awesome. I got another comment from Amazanta1605 who says, I think they could easily adapt the comic into an entire campaign, an origin story. It would benefit from a change like including a tighter link to Ghost team. Maybe he was an ex-Ghost in the game already and making the game's main objective to kill Manuel. Now, Manuel was the guy that we learned in the complete story who orchestrated the murders of his brother, his mother, his sister-in-law, his nephew, and really executed and brainwashed some of his teammates. Now, I think that a spin-off game of any character in Call of Duty is hard to do. And I think it is because where we're at right now with Call of Duty, they like to do these big team-ups. They like to follow a one universe connection and kind of have everything be almost nostalgia bait or callbacks to older games and stuff like that. So we don't get these really story driven dedicated things anymore, and making a spin-off game on a certain character would be tough to do. We've had conversations in the past on this channel very vividly about maybe a spin-off on Los Vaqueros, maybe a spin-off on Gas leading the team, maybe a spin-off on members of the Task Force 141. We even had conversations of maybe making a game or a spin-off on Commander Graves and the Shadow Company. But it's really hard to make those games because of the appeal, because to the fan that's not really interested in all of these things, it would be a hard sell. It would be a hard sell to make Call of Duty Gas Story, Call of Duty Gas Origins, or something like that. It would just be difficult to sell a game like that. So because nobody would really know or care really too much about the character Gas in general. And although it sucks to say, it's the truth. Nobody would really care all that much if it was a character like that. But if you get a character like Ghost, who everybody knows, who so many people love, so many people adore, so many people think he's a legend or a iconic, classic Call of Duty character, you could potentially get away with making a spin-off game surrounding that character only. And now we don't have that many characters in Call of Duty that have a rich history that could translate well into a video game. Now, if you treated Call of Duty, if Activision treated Call of Duty like a regular gaming studio that made story games, you could easily get an origin story on Simon Ghost Riley. And you could begin any way that you want, really. You could still tie that origin story to the new Ghost that we have. It wouldn't necessarily be an origin story on the original Ghost. It could be an origin story that ties into the new one, like we mentioned. And everything that happens is still plausible with the new rebooted Ghost. And I think it could work well if you start the game on like present day and then something happens and you flash back to like, I don't know, 15, 12 years earlier, and you begin the story of Ghost hunting Manuel, Ghost being in this younger state of mind and kind of becoming the Ghost. He wasn't maybe the Ghost yet, but we get to see what led to him doing that and the mechanics of the game, doing missions by yourself, doing some spec op missions, doing some infiltration missions, meeting up with other characters, and then doing a little bit more of a flashback and have a section of you playing maybe as a kid when you're Ghost and you witness some really crazy shit and you kind of got to hide in the corners and like try to avoid things. Those types of missions could work really well if done right in any game, but in a Call of Duty game, it would be awesome to see. I mean, Ghost did a lot of military operations and other things before he ever joined Task Force 141, before he ever met General Shepard or Captain Price or Soap or anybody. He was still doing so many cool things, and the settings could be really cool. You could do like Afghanistan, you could do Mexico, you could do England, you could do the United States, you could do Texas when he's trying to cross back over, you could do a mini level trying to dig out of the grave. I mean, there's so many cool things that you could do because the story is so rich and everything is already there in the comics. You could take so much from that and just put it into a game, create something awesome. You could create a 6-7 hour experience that is really, like the comment said, tight, really linear, really powerful, and just evoke emotion. I think that would be something so cool to see. And I don't know if Activision or Call of Duty would ever do this, but they do need to start thinking of different ideas and different things to do that don't involve the title Modern Warfare and Black Ops. So finding maybe character origin stories to tell or something along those lines could be cool. This could have also even been a cool DLC if they still wanted to do stuff like that. If they still cared about the community that plays story games, the community that loves the campaigns, you could make this an add-on storyline. You could do a DLC that's about 4.5 hours long, titled Call of Duty Modern Warfare Ghost Origins, or something simple like that. And I think it would sell. I think people would want to buy it. I think people would be very interested in playing that type of game. And so again, I don't know that Call of Duty would ever do this, but if there was ever a character to do it for, it would have to be Simon Ghost Riley.